Well, good morning, and welcome to a new series of mini training sessions. As I go along, let me know if you have any questions. Today's topic is chimney adapters, the options and their uses. Making the proper transition between an insulated chimney system and either type of connector pipe that someone may be using is one step towards ensuring a safe installation. And since Selkirk offers a variety of adapters, it's important to know which one gets used in which situation. Now, before getting into any differences, let's briefly discuss the things that are similarities about these adapters. Because they will be attached to a chimney and will be in contact with the part of the system carrying the flue gases, they are all made of stainless steel. They all attach in a manner which will allow them to make a dripless connection. And that means that any condensation or creosote that may form on the inside walls that then travels downward will head back down towards the heat source, down to the appliance, and not find a path out. Now, to help you gain a better understanding of each adapter, I will discuss the various ones. The first is the dripless smoke pipe adapter with coupler, or the DSAC. And the DSAC is from the metal-bestis chimney system. It is used to transition from single wall stovepipe to products such as the UT, the GT, and the ST. It's made up of a coupler and a single wall sleeve. The coupler is just like the male end of the insulated chimney system. The single wall sleeve is a slightly smaller diameter than single wall stovepipe, and that will allow it to slide down to the inside of the stovepipe, making that dripless connection that I mentioned earlier. The sleeve itself is more than 14 inches long, which means you can use it as a slip joint. That means when it slides down inside the single wall pipe, it can either go down a little bit or it can go down a lot, helping make sure you're going to get the proper length that you need in a single wall pipe connection. Now, because the DSAC has this coupler that is too large to go through the opening of our supports, such as our FSP, or our finished support package, and our support box, it actually gets twist locked into the first piece of chimney pipe and is dropped in from above. You now have it stop at this particular point where it is too large to pass through. You have the single wall sleeve that will then slide to the inside of the single wall stovepipe. Now, to install in one of those situations, the FSP or the support box, it really does have to be installed from above. When you are doing a roof support or through the wall application, it just gets twist locked in. You then use the little finishing collar, and it will attach right here, make for a nice look for a finished installation, but it also helps secure this in place. Now, the dripless smoke pipe adapter is also from the metal-bestis chimney line and is also used to connect to single wall stovepipe. Now, instead of having a coupler like the DSAC does, you'll notice that this one just has a flange. And you can see, I'll move this out of the way, that you're going to have a slightly larger diameter flange than you do the single wall pipe. Once again, this is going to connect to single wall stovepipe. It can be used as a slip joint. However, this one is used most often in retrofit installations. Now, to give you an example of that, let's just say that someone does have a ceiling support with all of the chimney systems stacked on above there. Another person comes along and decides that they want to put in the stovepipe, and they realize that the original installer did not put in the DSAC in their installation. Because this coupler is too large to go in from underneath, to properly install this one, they would literally have to lift all of the installed chimney pipe out of the way to be able to get this in. Not a step that most people even want to consider, and that's where this one comes into play. This flange is small enough to go to the inside of the opening in either the FSP or the SB. So whether we're looking at the ceiling support or the support box, this will go in from below. And the other thing is that the opening itself is large enough to go just to the outside of the inner liner of the chimney system, which makes it a dripless connection, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, is one of our main goals. Now the next chimney adapter is our chimney pipe adapter. It's also from the Metal Vestas chimney system, and it's similar to the DSAC in that it does have a coupler, just like the male end of the chimney pipe, and it does have a single wall sleeve. Obviously, the biggest difference is that this overall component is 3 inches tall. So you don't have that long sleeve that you can use excuse me, as a slip joint. Instead, you just have this short little sleeve. Now, even though this could be used in a single wall stovepipe application, its intent is to be used with the chimney system when you're going to then transition to the double wall stovepipe, so the model DSP. And this will allow you to twist lock into the chimney system, slide to the inside of the DSP. Know that you're not going to have any problems as far as having any single wall pipe exposed. And since an awful lot of people install the DSP because they want that close clearance ability that it gives you, you don't want a long piece, or for that matter even a short piece, of single wall pipe exposed. So that's what this one will allow you to do. Now these two adapters are actually from the model VP line, so our pellet vent line, and they are used to transition from either 3-inch or 4-inch pellet vent to either 6-inch or 8-inch Metal Vestas chimney system. Now, this does not get used near as often as the ones that we've talked about already, but it is important for you to know that they do exist. And there are those instances where, let's just say as an example, someone has a wood stove installed, they have the Metal Vestas chimney system in place, and at some point they decide to take out their wood stove. At a later date, they decide, they'd really love to have a pellet vent. However, they don't want to tear out the entire chimney system. That would just be wasteful. So what they want to do is start at the pellet stove, use pellet vent until they get to the lower end of the insulated chimney system, and that's where this adapter comes into play. The smaller diameter gets slid to the inside of the pellet vent, and the larger diameter, once again, will go to the outside of the inner liner of the chimney system. The whole thing just gets attached with some stainless steel sheet metal screws. And once again, you've got a good, safe installation. Now this is the ASE, or the stove pipe adapter, and it is actually from the SuperVent chimney line. It is made of stainless steel, always comes painted black, and serves as the transition between the SuperVent chimney system and either single wall or double wall connector pipe. Now the stovepipe adapter does have the coupler, just like the male end of the chimney system, and as such gets twist locked into place. Now if you were installing the decorator ceiling support, this would, similar to how the DSAC gets installed, or the chimney pipe adapter, gets twist locked into the first piece of chimney pipe and is dropped into the decorator ceiling support from above. Now if we were looking at the cathedral ceiling support, or we were doing a through-the-wall application, then it just gets twist-locked onto the first length of insulated chimney system. Now this entire height is 7 inches, so it's definitely shorter than a couple of the other components we've talked about, a little bit longer than our chimney pipe adapter from the Metal Vestas line, and so what you end up with is a little bit of sleeve that you have that you can use as a slip joint when you're installing this with single-wall stovepipe. If you're installing it with the DSP, however, you're going to end up with about 1 3/4 inches or so single wall pipe that's exposed. And obviously, since we do not want that, what you end up using is something like this. And this is our finishing band. And it's like a trim band, so it's going to give you a nice look, except in reality what it really will do is it will cover up the single wall exposed portion that's left over when you install this with the DSP. That then gives you double wall, it then gives you the reduced clearances, so now your entire system gives you that close clearance ability. And obviously, once again, since it slides to the inside of either the single wall or the double wall pipe, you're going to get that dripless connection. And there you have it. Those are our chimney adapters. Hopefully you have a better understanding of their similarities, their differences, and their uses.